Hello, everybody, and welcome here to Rio Grande Credit Union Field at the Lab. It's a matchup between two playoff sides as New Mexico United hosting Memphis 901 FC for the first time in history. Pregame coming up in just a moment. Tonight's match and the 2022 New Mexico United season are presented by Sandia Resort and Casino. Close to home, far from ordinary. My name's Tyler Ortega, joined as always by Chris Hurst. Chris, we're here at the Lab. First time matchup, two teams looking to host a home playoff game for the first time in their club's history.
Yeah, two teams that are coming into this game at very different ebbs of their season. New Mexico United, last two home games defeats, so looking to arrest that slide.
Let's jump right into things here tonight. These are tonight's players to watch, brought to you by NM Solar Group. Starting off first with the home side. Well, Chris, never thought I'd see the day. Making his return to the Lab after over 1,000 days being gone, the 27-year-old Jamaican recently reacquired. It's Kevon Frater.
Yeah, and a few changes tonight, but lots of attacking talent added to by Kevon Frater. Missed a big goal, and boy, do New Mexico United need big goals down the stretch here.
On the other side for Memphis, we're going to be keeping an eye on the 25-year-old from Nashville. He's the leading scorer in the Eastern Conference. It's Philip Goodrum.
Yeah, and what a dangerous player he is. He can play off the shoulders of defenders. He's comfortable coming deep, turning and running with the ball. Anytime the ball is in and around the 6-yard box, he's in there sniffing around for a chance.
We're going to step aside for just a moment. When we return, we'll have lineups and kickoff.
We're celebrating Labor Day at American Home Furniture and Mattress with Inflation Busters. Shop furniture and mattresses starting under $500 for every room in your home on the largest selection of in-stock furniture and mattresses in New Mexico. Plus, take advantage of 36-month financing with no down payment. Locally owned and operated.
You always get the best for less at American Home Furniture and Mattress.
Straight down into the core of the earth, 700 feet beneath the surface, stalagmites and stalactites, million-year-old all-stars in a natural stadium, carved by water, populated by bats, and marveled by all. Carlsbad Caverns National Park.
Game time.
Kickoff just moments away here at the Lab, so let's go ahead and have a look here at tonight's starting lineups presented by Michelob Ultra. Starting off first, Chris, with Zach Prince's 11. This is how it's going. We've got Alex Tambakis in goal after getting the weekend off. We're going to see Rashid Tete, Will Seymour, Kalen Ryden, and Harry Swartz in a back four. Looking to see perhaps a diamond midfield here. This is the first time we've seen this lineup combination.
Yeah, a bunch of changes, obviously. Something needs to change, especially at home. And, credit to the coaching staff. They've recognized it. We think it's going to be a back four, 4-4-2 diamond with Portillo anchoring that defense. Great to see him back from concussion protocol.
On the other side for Memphis, this is how Ben Pierman is going. Getting the start, it's Trey Muse. In goal, we're going to see a back four again. Reese Buckmaster, Graham Smith, Carroll, and Segrist composing the back four there. Midfield of Lesson Paul and Malloy. And then, of course, you've got to keep an eye on Phil Goodrum, as we mentioned, but also Luis Fernando.
Yeah, and scored last week against, the weekend against Riverhounds, and bringing Kelly back into it, back into the lineup with 5 goals, 8 assists so far this season. Very dangerous from midfield.
Those were our keys to the game, brought to you by Garcia Automotive Group. This is our injury report, brought to you by Ben Sherman Law. Injured at work, Ben Sherman can help. First time matchup here between Memphis and New Mexico. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst here on hand at the lab. Thanks for joining us here, ladies and gentlemen. This is some Wednesday night USL Championship action. In the center circle, that is Laurent Kisiedu. Getting us started here tonight is New Mexico, of course, in their all-black home strip. Memphis in their away whites. So starting things off here, it's going to be Memphis with the throw-in. It's Reese Buckmaster, the Auburn, Indiana native. Spent 2021 with Indy 11. So it's going to be interesting here tonight, Christine. Devin Sandoval getting the start. Armando Moreno getting his first start of the season as well in just his 5th appearance. Kevon Frater obviously making the return back in black and yellow. So much to get into here tonight. This is going to be a fun couple of hours.
Yeah, it's like stepping back in time, right? With Kevon Frater and Devin Sandoval up top. Everyone, rubbing their eyes, making sure we hadn't gone back in time, back to 2018 here. But yeah, it's exciting to see. And again, something had to change. And the amount of attacking talent as we're seeing already here.
Moreno plays this one in, and Weehan just misses getting a touch, and it falls back. Portillo has it blocked. New Mexico getting some opportunities early, and that was Christian Nava, that had his shot blocked. So things off to a roaring start here, Chris. Here's Harry Swartz. The New England native gets it in the box to Frater. Falls back, and that one was deflected out, and it looks like we're going to see our first Bank of America corner kick of the evening. With over 4,600 locations, convenient banking is just around the corner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because you got to imagine this has kind of caught Memphis a little bit on the hop as well. That a lot of changes seeing Moreno. Great seeing him back in his first start since his ACL injury. Portillo back from concussion protocol. Sandoval in the starting lineup. Frater. All these changes. Nava in the starting lineup as well. This again gone very, very attacking from the off. Different formation, different look to defend.
Portillo sends this one in. He was looking back post for Frater. It's going to come back to the Ghanaian Rashid Tete. Weehan saw that one skip by. Luckily for New Mexico, it was played forward by Justin Portillo. So the veteran will see more now. That's a great ball for Christian Nava. Nava lays it back for Armando Moreno. Back to Nava. Christian Nava going back post for Sandoval, in New Mexico on the front foot early.
And no surprise to see Christian Nava in the heart of everything. A little firecracker in there. So hard to defend. Always looking to go forwards. First touch. And it's just so hard to get the ball off him. So Moreno, the experience of Moreno, surrendering the ball to the youngster, knowing how dangerous he can be in and around the 18-yard box.
Well, and that's got to be a big confidence booster if you're Christian Nava as well.
Oh, 100%, because like I say, El Salvador national team player. I think I was actually a little disappointed at first. We're up here in the press box, obviously very impartial, but I was gesticulating for Moreno to have a shot. And when he passed it to Nava, but Nava just drove to the end line. And again, he's so hard to stop once he gets going.
The Albuquerque native Devin Sandoval plays it out for Harry Swartz. Portillo back to Tete. Tete gives it away. That's Malloy. Looking for Goodrum, but Seymour pokes it back. So New Mexico, Chris, coming off of what I'm sure they would consider a disappointing draw on the weekend on Sunday after surrendering a 2-goal lead at Los Dos. We're at that point in the season where you've just got to put it behind you.
Yeah, and the good thing right now, every single professional always say it, and it's kind of a cliche that they use, right? Is anytime there's a disappointing result, there's another game right around the corner. That literally is the case with New Mexico United right now, playing, Sunday, Wednesday, the last 2 weeks, and that really does throw you off a little bit as well. And they've struggled with it. I know we were talking during the week, right, about the record that they have when on short rest. So again, it'll be something that they'll be looking to change tonight. Obviously, Memphis having to travel across the country as well, coming to altitude, as we always talk about when teams come in here. It's school, the first week of school, the crowd's not as big as what it's maybe been in the past, but still very loud, making enough noise. So Memphis will be enjoying the challenge, but it'll be interesting to see how they deal with it as well, especially with the new look New Mexico United side.
Goodrum pokes this one forward, and what a challenge there from Rashid Tete. Shot is put on, and it's sailed over the bar by Malloy. Aaron Malloy, the Irishman, spent last season with Forward Madison. He's been in form, picked up 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 3 games. He scored in the 72nd minute on the weekend. And that's the thing when you look at this Memphis side, they have so many options all across the board.
Yeah, and I mean, the amount of goals that they've got from different areas as well. Obviously, like you say, Goodrum with 13 is obviously the pick there, but Malloy, Kelly, a number of guys have scored multiple goals so far this season. It's not like they're relying on one individual. New Mexico United, on the other hand, Nico Brett's still the top scorer with 7. Portillo, great to see him back in the team, but with 6. A couple of those were maybe PKs as well. So that's what the challenge has been. That's been that New Mexico United and the staff have thrown down to these players tonight.
Weehan connected with Sandoval in the box. His first touch, it looked like he was trying to lay that one off for Armando Moreno. Kisiedu goes for a run. This is our P&M Coaches Spotlight. That's Zach Prince, New Mexico United first season head coach. Made 162 appearances as a player, the 2012 USL champion. And we're going to see Malloy get a talking to here. Weehan having something to say. That's our referee, Jose Carlos Rivera. He's calling Laurent Kisiedu back as well. Kisiedu from the Ivory Coast. Let's see what happens here. Replays tonight brought to you by TLC. As you can see, Seymour came in. And Malloy was perhaps asking for a little bit more than just a free kick. Carroll looks to play this forward, turns it over. Goodrum pokes it forward. Kisiedu connects with Luis Fernando, and he's in space. Kambakis comes out to make a big save. And New Mexico standing there with their palms up, looking at each other.
They're asking the question right now about offside. My initial reaction was Fernando looked like he wasn't just barely on offside. He looked like he was a long way offside. But wasn't called and, did enough to defend it in the end. But Memphis looking dangerous with their first attack there.
Here's Moreno, connects with Weehan. Was looking in the box there for Frater. What a timely challenge there by Rashid Tete. Moreno goes to ground, battling in the midfield there with Aaron Malloy. An intense battle here through the first 8 minutes so far, Chris.
Yeah, and it seems like there's no love lost in the middle of the park either. There's some fiery characters in there, right? Especially Moreno. He's not going to shy away from any kind of physical confrontation, that's for sure.
Here's Moreno. Moreno lays it off for Weehan, plays it back in, looking back post. And it's just poked away from Devin Sandoval. And we're going to see another Bank of America corner kick coming up. And that gives us time here for this 529 game update. Brought to you by the Education Plan, New Mexico's state-sponsored 529 plan. Give your kids a better and brighter future. Learn more at theeducationplan.com. So Bank of America corner kick here for New Mexico. Sandoval has found himself heavily involved here through the first few minutes.
Yeah, the ball keeps finding him in there, and The word I was thinking, before you did you read there was like fluid. New Mexico United, they look very, very fluid as they're going forward. The tempo is great. Chris Wehan just popping into space on the left there, and everything's 1-2 touch, and yeah, it just looks like it's clicking already.
Corner kick comes in near post. Glanced back. This is Moreno. And Moreno, what a lovely touch. As the cross attempt blocked. Moreno's doing everything he can to get away from Philip Goodrum. And eventually back to Tete, who plays it back in. Ryden's there, flag stays down. Ryden gives it away to Kisiedu. On the attack again. Here's Nava. Christian Nava making his 13th appearance on the season. So seen a good bit of playing time here in what is now his second professional season. Having made 5 appearances last year for New Mexico. Memphis looking to run. This is Goodrum. He's one-on-one with Tambakis. And Seymour. Didn't look like that one was on frame, but Seymour able to keep it alive anyway. But New Mexico perhaps dodging one there.
Yeah, that's what we talked about pre-game, though. Goodrum, as soon as he saw player there with his head up in midfield, he just looked to get into the space behind, and no one tracked the run from New Mexico United. That's the disappointing thing for them, that they think. Obviously, switching to a back 4 tonight, I feel like those are the kind of chances that they were trying to get away from, or to restrict for the other team, and to get one so early on where free run. And to be fair, great job by Tambakis. Came out, didn't overcommit too early, stayed big, made himself nice and big. Target now was really small, and managed to get enough on it to slow it down to allow Seymour to make the clearance.
And Seymour takes a shove in the back from the 25-year-old Philip Goodrum. So that's going to be a free kick for now, Chris, but I think the next time we're going to see a yellow.
I can't believe the referee has had a little word there. I mean, I get it's cleared out of frustration probably from the chance he just missed. But, yeah, I mean, there was nothing. He didn't try and hide it. Let's put it that way, right?
Fiesta Auto Group free kick here for New Mexico. This will Seymour out of Colorado Springs. Scored for New Mexico just a few weeks ago against New York Red Bulls. Red Bulls 2, excuse me. It's just his 3rd career professional goal. Looking for Goodrum again on the run, and Goodrum and Seymour knew exactly what he was doing on that one.
That was I can't believe he fell for that, because you could see Seymour just had a little look over his shoulder, slowed right down, and literally like backed into him there. And I mean, yeah, as a Goodrum, he's clearly upset about something, and he fell for it.
Other half of our PNM Coaches Spotlight. This is Ben Pierman in charge of Memphis. This is his 2nd season at the helm. He was the assistant coach for 901 for 3 years, and prior to that, spent time as an assistant coach at his alma mater, Michigan State. He was a standout player during his time there. As this one falls to Frater. Here's the Jamaican Kevon Frater. And Frater does well to get by his man. And Frater plays it across the face of goal, and nobody home on the connection there for New Mexico. But you got to like what you're seeing here from this duo of Kevon Frater and Devin Sandoval so far.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that someone's drove to the end line and put a great ball across the 6-yard box of Memphis, and there's just no one there right now. No one taking a gamble on those players getting to the end line.
Ryden chips this one forward, has it poked away there by Buckmaster. Fernando does well to get by Swartz, and Ryden, how about that? Momentarily slows up play. And Will Seymour perhaps might have gotten away with one there.
It's funny watching Goodrum there. He kind of assumed Seymour was going to deal with the first ball. If he gambled, he actually probably would have been in there, but Seymour did enough to get away with it, that's for sure.
Frater looking to connect with Moreno. He's dispossessed. Goes back to Carroll. Zach Carroll out of Michigan. Seymour heads this back to Alex Tambakis. Tambakis sporting a fresh haircut here tonight.
I'm not sure if you want me to comment on someone's haircut. I'm not sure I'm the right guy for that job.
And for those at home that don't know, Chris obviously sports a lovely head of hair, similar to that of Devin Sandoval, who you see on your screen right now. These are Garcia Automotive Group keys to the game for New Mexico. Keep an organized defensive line, hold on to your lines, and progress the ball with efficiency. Well, Chris, I would say they've done well progressing the ball with efficiency thus far. They've looked very potent in attack.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that's missing, and that's something that I noticed when looking through, doing some research for this game, is it's not that they're not creating chances. Like the last game against Miami, they lost 3-0. They created so many chances. It was just putting the ball in the back of the net. That's really been the issue. And that's obviously something that even tonight, there's been 3 more than half chances, let's say, and they haven't really tested Muse and goal yet.
Buckmaster goes down. As Luis Fernando there. And then Buckmaster. So the foul called there on Justin Portillo. Again, tonight's replays brought to you by TLC Plumbing. TLC is the leader in New Mexico when it comes to home and business service needs. So the left foot of Luis Fernando or the right foot of Aaron Malloy. Fernando gives the signal. It's going to be Malloy playing it in. Ryden rises up to win the header, and the free kick is given. Kalen Ryden making his 65th USL Championship appearance here for New Mexico tonight. Talk about somebody who's been a stalwart in the lineup for the past 3 seasons here, Chris. New Mexico will have the throw here. Nice turn by Frater. Looking to connect with Sandoval, and Frater comes in hard and wins the challenge clean, says the official. Like he got it right there.
I'll tell you what, that was a great tackle, but about a 100th of a second later, and that is probably a yellow card, so he had to get that right.
Lively crowd here this evening at the Lab is expecting somewhere around 7,500 tonight. This ball goes into the box, and Buckmaster keeps that one from being a corner kick. This is our injury report brought to you by Ben Sherman Law. For New Mexico, Sergio Rivas, joined by Austin Yearwood and the German Jerome Kiesewetter. We saw Kiesewetter walking around in a boot earlier in the pregame, Chris. He enjoyed a good run of form for a few matches, and then the injury bug snuck up on him.
Yeah, it's probably the style in which he played. Obviously, he was very, very effective in drawing contact. He uses all his experience to draw contact, and it was just one too many where, I believe it was, in the second half of 2 home games ago, I believe it was, where I think he took a knock on his ankle. So yeah, saw him in a boot walking around the field before the game here today. So hopefully it's nothing too serious though. And because he was, like you say, maybe struggled early on, struggled for game time, and really earned that number 9 spot, earned that centre forward spot where he was really impossible to drop.
Ball played back to nobody in particular as Ryden has to hunt this one down. You mentioned earlier about Frater maybe getting a yellow card for being late on that challenge. Obviously did a little bit of research, and looking back to the 2019 season when Kevon Frater was here prior, he didn't play in the season finale against Las Vegas Lights, so we looked to the match before that. It was a 1-1 draw against Tacoma Defiance. Frater in the book that night, 63rd minute yellow card. So it was 1,036 days ago.
It was also 3 years ago today, I believe, where Kevon Frater scored a very, very cheeky PK for New Mexico United in front of the curse right there, where it nearly didn't make the line. It was a Panenka who that nearly didn't work. It did. It was at Los Dos, I think it was against as well. And yeah, because that popped up on my memories today.
Magic minute here at the lab. Here's Swartz, connects with Sandoval. Portillo now. Played in for Sandoval. Looking for Frater. Memphis able to hold the attack. But Ryden wins the header in New Mexico. Pressing once again. Here's Christian Nava. The Albuquerque native, Christian Nava, fires one right into the waiting arms of Trey Muse.
Yeah, you can see Nava, when he first picks up the ball, he's scanning, trying to work out what does he want to do, and it just opens up for him, so he thinks, why not? And stung the hands of Muse there a little bit, and a little warning shot where I bet next time he's running with the ball, the defense of Memphis will be a little quicker to step out to him, I imagine.
Now, I'm certain we have a few first-time viewers, so if you're curious what just happened, that's called the Magic Minute. It's a tradition that happens at every New Mexico United home match. So they start cheering at the 19-minute, 12-second mark, and that's to recognize when New Mexico was officially recognized as a state, and they stop losing their minds, if you will, at the 20-minute, 18-second mark, and that's to signify when New Mexico United were announced as a club. And it's called the Magic Minute. It was an idea brought forth back in 2018, I believe it was, by first head coach and technical director in club history, Troy Lassane. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play with at SelectSportAmerica.com. Select, League's Choice, Player's Choice. When speaking of some potential first-time viewers, first off, if you're watching from Memphis, welcome in here. Pleasure for us to be bringing you this action here from the lab on a beautiful Wednesday night. Temperatures low 80s, slight breeze here in Albuquerque. It's been a beautiful afternoon compared to what we've been experiencing lately with temperatures in the mid-90s. It's been hot recently, Chris, but today, just a perfect August evening.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. But we were talking, obviously, earlier on, I don't know if it's today or yesterday, and the weather forecast did not look great. But so far, so good. And, yeah, it's an absolute beautiful evening for some football. Can't talk.
Tete pokes this one over to Seymour, and Seymour has to get out of trouble here. It's Fernando all over him. And Luis Fernando just runs over Will Seymour. Portillo asking for a yellow card to be shown as he's not going to get one. Just a stern talking to. So we'll have a look here to this TLC replay. Yeah, I mean, he literally just runs him over.
I mean, I'm sure Seymour probably thought it was good. Could run behind him again the way he got shoved. It was very similar. That's the third time now he's being basically charged in the back. But, I like the consistency from the referee. He's trying to keep his cards in his pocket and trying to just let the game go a little bit, and maybe it's a little more physical, and I don't think New Mexico United would necessarily not want that as well. So, yeah, I think, he's been consistent, so long may it continue. Not the shoves in the back.
Portillo looking to play this one for Kevon Frater. Zach Carroll wins the header instead. Frater showing off some footwork. Connects with his old teammate Rashid Tete. New Mexico Looking to attack once again. Out wide to Frater. On the near side, this is the Jamaican, Kevon Frater. He's looking for Weehan, and as it poked away, Memphis can counter. Here's Goodrum. Marked by Seymour. Few step overs. Plays it back for Kisiedu. Great first touch, Kisiedu. And sends it straight to Alex Tembakis.
You see the front four of Memphis really, again, I'm going to use the same word as what I used for New Mexico United earlier on, fluid. The front four, Kisiedu, Fernando, Kelly, Goodrum. Rotation-wise, Goodrum popping up on the left, and then Kelly comes inside, and Fernando pops up on the left earlier on defensively as well. So really fluid movement between them, and that'll be something that New Mexico United have to be wary of, knowing who's picking up who, especially in those transition moments. But it's also interesting seeing New Mexico United. I'd say it's probably not breaking news that maybe they've been a little more direct this year, looking for Nico Brett in behind, Preston in behind, and it's probably not breaking news as well that Devon Sandoval, Kevon Frater, that's probably not the game that they're looking for. They don't really want to run. They're able to, but that's not their forte, is running the channels. I think it's really suiting New Mexico United early on in this game. They're playing into Devon Sandoval's feet, Kevon Frater's feet, and then the runners behind them, Moreno, Nava, Weehan, having those guys behind them, it's really working well so far.
Foul called on Will Seymour as he returns the favor on Philip Goodrum. So a Fiesta Auto Group free kick coming up here for the visitors. And Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst here on hand at the lab in Albuquerque. Started off with a switch of play, finding Buckmaster on the far side. Now Kisiedu. Here's Buckmaster. And looking for the through ball. He's looking to connect with Leston Paul, who's the club captain. Not on the same page there. So we welcomed some new viewers from out of state. I'd like to give a nice warm welcome to some potential new viewers in state. We're on KOAT tonight, Chris. Our first time on KOAT this season. So if you're tuned in right here on Channel 7, thanks for hanging out with us. It's our pleasure again to be live here at the lab, whether you're watching around the state of New Mexico, my hometown of Santa Rosa. Nice little shout out there. This is great for the game, is what I first off want to say is the USL Championship as a league has been growing. We see the quality of the players, the quality of the teams increase year over year over year. And now as you're starting to see the league is being more accessible.
No, and especially it's a really good, I'm not sure if this is why it was done today, but like I said earlier, the first full week of school, this is a really hard game to drag kids to, when everyone's trying to get into the new routine, getting back into the school year and everything like that. So it's a great idea to put this on local TV where people who can't necessarily get out to the game at 7 p.m. and get back between 9:30. This is a great way for the younger generation to still be able to access the game.
The Athens, Greece native Alex Tembakis will send this one long. Came into tonight with 47 saves. That's good enough to be tied for 12th in the championship. Conceded 21 goals, 4 clean sheets. Fiesta Auto Group free kick coming up here for New Mexico. Gives us time to let you know that the reigning title holders visiting in-state rivals as the USL on ESPN2 continues. Orange County looks for a late season surge against Sac Republic on Sunday, September 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Kisiedu looking to break. Decides against Laying it off for Jeremy Kelly. And New Mexico now have options. Moreno look to play it up for Frater, and the foul is now going to be called, and our first yellow card of the night will be shown, and it's Reese Buckmaster. The 26-year-old out of Auburn, Indiana. Yellow cards brought to you by Wendy's. There's a yellow card shown tonight. New Mexico United fans receive a free breakfast sandwich at participating locations with a qualifying purchase. You see Buckmaster comes in, no intent to win the ball. Our first yellow card of the evening.
Yeah, you can see I'm not sure if there was no intent to win the ball. He was actually pretty close on that last replay there, but that was probably just the patience of the referee. Just wore a little thin there and decided he needed to maybe put a lid on some of these tackles. Like I say, he let quite a lot go early on.
Sandoval flicks it on for Frater, but the foul is going to be called beforehand. That looked pretty promising there for New Mexico.
And that's definitely a tactic that can be used tonight, right? Like Sandoval, very, very good in the air there, and he had two defenders around him and still managed to put the ball down at Frater's feet, and Frater popped it in the back of the net just to make sure that he hadn't misheard the whistle as well.
Malloy chips this one forward, looking for Luis Fernando. It's the Brazilian, spent last season with Tampa Bay Rowdies. Casiedu once again. Malloy will go back to Trey Muse. Trey Muse is somebody who's been bouncing around for the last few seasons. He was part of the Sounders system up until the end of last year when they declined to renew his contract. Spent the last couple of seasons on loan with Tacoma Defiant. Spent last year with San Diego Loyal. Signed with Loudon back in January and was loaned to Memphis the day before this season started. So can't imagine what his moving expense bills look like.
Well traveled. 5 clean sheets already this season, though, and this is the first time in I can't remember how long since we've been announcing this season where New Mexico United are facing a team that has a better defensive record than New Mexico United for so long of this season. New Mexico United have been in the top 2, top 3 best defensive in the entire league. Now they've dropped to 9th best with the run of games that they had. Obviously that Miami game put a big dent in it as well. And currently Memphis are the 4th best in the entire USL defensive record.
And this is not good as Christian Nava holding his shoulder after being tackled by Segrist. So we'll have another look at this TLC replay. Christian Nava did well to get his body in the way, but there you see as he fell, sort of landing on that elbow right there.
But you can see that's another Memphis player who's just gone straight shove in the back. At some point the referee, he's allowed this to happen there, and you can see Nava, he fell pretty awkwardly, and he's got to make sure part of his job as well is to protect the players, and at some point those pushes need to probably be stopped.
Here's Frater. Frater, too heavy of a touch. He's asking for a corner, not going to get it. Seymour heads it forward. Cut out there. Here's Jeremy Kelly. Good to see Justin Portillo back after we were here a little bit less than 2 weeks ago. We saw him leave the game in the 20th minute. due to injury. He's seen his first action since.
And I remember when it happened, like the way he fell, we didn't catch that he fell on his head, basically. I assumed it was some kind of shoulder injury, maybe a dislocated shoulder,
Right.
collarbone, something like that. But then seeing him, once he got to his feet and trying to walk and physically having been helped off the field, it was a nasty one. So yeah, it's scary when you see those things happen, and great to see him back on the pitch tonight.
Seymour able to pick that one away from Goodrum. Nava and Segrist bouncing the ball off of each other. That's Christian Nava, Albuquerque native, the first to climb the ranks through the New Mexico United Youth Academy and into the first team. Made his debut last year here against Switchbacks with a very memorable back heel nutmeg out of a double team. Looking for Goodrum on the through ball there was Kelly. He does well to win that one back momentarily, and Jeremy Kelly showing a little bit of frustration there. You can see Leston Paul was showing our official a little bit what was going on there. I don't think I've ever quite seen that during a match.
I was just giving him a hug.
Here's Malloy. Gets it back from Kelly. Malloy once again. Second on the team with 6 goals this season is Aaron Malloy, only behind Philip Goodrum, who's on 13. Talk about Malloy being somebody who's not only capable of finishing in front of goal, but also capable of creating for others. He's got 8 assists, which is time for the team lead as this ball's poked through. Fernando is on, and Fernando chips it through. The flag stays down, and Memphis take the lead here in the 37th minute. It's the Brazilian Luis Fernando.
Fernando, 2 goals in 2 games there, and this one a lot easier than maybe the one that he finished against Pittsburgh, where he was basically getting mugged on the way through. But there, the run from out to in, no one really tracks the run. New Mexico United begging for an offside flag, and it doesn't come. And well, you can see Tambakis, he comes out, hesitates because he realizes he can't get there. And I tell you what, Fernando, what a great finish with his left foot. You can see that timing's perfect. I think absolutely perfect timing of the pass there. First touch just takes Tambakis out of the game, and second touch, back of the net.
A goal in back-to-back games for the Brazilian Luis Fernando, and Memphis quiets the 7,000 plus on hand here at the Lab. And I think you were right. The timing was perfect, and the United back line are going to see that whenever they go through the film study.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was great run, and that the weight and the timing of the pass from Malloy. You were just talking about his assists. You know, they add another one there, and yeah, the timing and the weight of the pass really meant that Fernando, he just had to get that first touch correct. And like I say, it just took Tambakis out of it. Just created that angle to put the finish, and then great left foot finish. Well,
and the troubling thing for New Mexico is that's not even the first opportunity that Luis Fernando has gotten that same exact way here tonight.
No, exactly. Yeah, that run, and again, it's that movement that we talked about earlier from the front four of Fernando coming from out to in from that side, Kelly out to in from there, and Goodrum from the middle. He's making runs from the inside to the outside as well. So that movement is creating havoc for New Mexico United, and it really is in transition. It's not like, Memphis right now, I wouldn't have guessed this if I hadn't looked it up. They've actually had more of the ball. And I feel like they're just trying to pick New Mexico United off on the counter-attack, allowing New Mexico United to maybe have a little bit. So maybe it's just a illusion, because New Mexico United, they definitely have the better of the territory. The game is being played in the middle to Memphis's half kind of thing. But Memphis are just really quick on the break and really clinical.
And Memphis, that's going to be a foul there on Laurent Kisiedu. As I was saying, Memphis, they're really good when they score the opening goal away from home in USL Championship this season. They've done so 7 times. They've won 6 of those 7, drawing the only other one.
There's a few ominous stats floating around with Memphis right now. We talked about it off air before we came on about they're in good form. They really are in good form. They're a good team. Like I always look at the last 5 games, and their last 5 games, 1-3, drawn 1, lost 1. Sometimes that doesn't always give you the full picture. In the last 10, 6 wins out of the last 10. 6 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. So only lost 2 of the last 10. That is a team in form.
Yeah, it looks like a talking to here between our official Jose Carlos Rivera and Laurent Kisiedu and Justin Portillo. I'm sure they're just exchanging Instagram handles, discussing where they're going to grab some dinner after the game. Memphis, they're also really good at getting things going. They've scored 27 first-half goals in 24 games this season. Only Tampa Bay has scored more in the USL Championship this season. It's only by 1. Here's Goodrum. On 13 goals, Eastern Conference's leading scorer. Shot comes on frame, and it's deflected by Alex Tambakis. Leston Paul was looking to net one there. New Mexico pinned back.
Yeah, and you can see Tambakis, he really did well to turn that around the post there, because that was definitely on top, and he was full extension to push that around the post as well. That was a great strike. Lovely little cushioned header from Fernando. Again, it's all of the attacking players of Memphis all involved, and he just drops it. First time, little cushioned header, so Paul just able to unleash a really, really good shot there.
Bank of America corner kick coming up here. Aaron Malloy, 9 assists on the season for the Irishman. Looking to be the first to hit double digits here in the USL Championship as Wehan gets a first touch. Leston Paul commits the foul, and Paul is going to get a talking to. It's Wehan asking for a card, and he's not going to get it.
I think that's probably a yellow card if Wehan doesn't take the 2 steps afterwards. I think Wehan was hoping he could maybe get on the end of it, got a touch, and then realised he couldn't. And there was definitely contact. I'm certainly not saying he dove, but there was contact, and he tried to ride it out. And I think that probably saved Paul from a yellow card.
It's Kalen Ryden looking for Sandoval here on the through ball. Sandoval able to control. Lays it off for Wehan. Wehan plays it across the face of goal. And that's the second time now that New Mexico have played a cross in, and there's nobody in there to connect.
Second times 2, 4th by my count. That's the 4th time that the ball has gone through the 6-yard box and no one there to just tap it in. And those are the easy ones. Those are the ones just 2, 3, 4, 5 yards out where you just need someone there, and no one for New Mexico United is gambling to get into that space.
Bank of America corner kick coming up here for Justin Portillo and New Mexico United. Portillo, 6 goals, 4 assists on the season. Is it in? Back post. It was Ryden that got the initial header to it, and it's going to be cleared away by Memphis. Sandoval lays it off for Frater. Connects with Moreno. Back to Sandoval, and the shot on frame. It's not going to matter anyway. Offside flag is up. Fans, don't miss a minute of the action in 2022. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN Plus. Home to the USL, MLS, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com.
It was a little untidy there by Seymour. That battle between Seymour and Goodrum has been really interesting in this first half. And Goodrum, it was actually a broken play, but he just manages to get a toe to it right as Seymour comes steaming in. So there you can see, just a little fortunate, just gets a toe to it. Seymour just lunges in there, and that's the one that draws a yellow card from the referee.
44th minute yellow card brought to you by Wendy's. United fans, make sure to head over to Wendy's participating locations tomorrow. Get a free breakfast sandwich with a qualifying purchase. Free kick here for Memphis. Dangerous position. Malloy serves this one back post. Looked like it was flicked on initially by Graham Smith. As Frater keeps it in play to the crowd's applause. Nava trying to track this one down. He's beaten to it by Malloy. And the veteran Aaron Malloy able to play that back to Trey Muse.
Yeah, he had to use all of his experience there, Malloy, because that little firecracker, Christian Nava, was just all over him behind, just trying to win the ball, and it looked for a second that he might have actually done it.
Kalen Ryden able to clear that one away. And so we're hearing, as you're going to see, no stoppage time. Presented by New Mexico Pinon Coffee. So that's the end of the first half, Chris. Real quick, your thoughts on the first 45?
Well, one, I'm devastated that the Pinon Coffee really didn't come out, because that's my favourite for the last 3 years. But yeah, it's been a really interesting game. I think there's been lots of positives for New Mexico United, specifically going forwards. The chances that they've created, some really, really good chances. Just unfortunately caught out on the break.
Well, there was no stoppage time. If there was, it would have been brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee. Great coffee is a matter of opinion. Halftime, the score, New Mexico 0, Memphis 901 FC 1. Brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. We're going to step aside. We'll have halftime coming up in just a moment.
For over 50 years, BIOS has been proudly serving New Mexico. We love being a part of this community and the New Mexico United family, and helping everyone from homeowners to home builders create a space that's both beautiful and practical. Shopping local is about more than getting a great deal. It's about supporting your community, your neighbors, your friends. Visit BIOS in Albuquerque and see how shopping local supports your New Mexico community.
There is a place where there are no roads, no conveyances beyond 2 legs, or 4. It's a vast swath of land set aside for adventure, for animals, for nature. We're visitors here in America's first designated wilderness, the Gila.
What's so great about being a Smith's Boost member? Free delivery. Free delivery on the Smith's products you love. Free delivery on the unexpected stuff you need. And best of all, more rewards, like double fuel points on everything you buy. Experience a new level of membership starting as low as $59 a year with Boost by Smith's Rewards.
I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but mines keep walking. Just too sharp with the prize, white girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch mine, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees, I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east.
We're back here at the lab. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst. It's halftime. The score is 1-0. Memphis on top of New Mexico, presented by First Financial Credit Union. Halftime also brought to you by Smith's, fresh for everyone. Well, Chris, we've got plenty to get into here for this halftime, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off first with our standings. Things really getting tight here in the Western Conference. New Mexico with a 2-point lead in 4th with a game in hand. With Republic having a game in hand.
Yeah, it has. It's really getting down to it now, and a huge opportunity tonight, especially to gain ground on switchbacks and overtake them as well, because they've hit a little bit of a sticky patch as well. So, huge second half coming up here.
Top 7 teams make the playoffs. Top 4 teams will host a home playoff game. That's why we're talking about that battle for 4th there. Moving on here, our news and notes from around the league. Groundbreaking for Rhode Island. They're getting a USL Championship club in Pawtucket. And they just broke ground just a couple of days ago. Riverhounds appointing a new president. It's Jeff Gamer, is the Pennsylvania native, recently holding the position of president of business ops at Orange County SC, headed back to the Steel City in New Mexico, as we touched on in the first half, announcing the return of the 3rd all-time leading scorer in club history, the Jamaican Kevon Frater. Next, this is our schedule from around the league. Riverhounds, as we just mentioned, they're going to be hosting Red Bulls 2 coming up on Saturday. Elsewhere in the East, Hartford Athletic hosting the Miami FC. Detroit City hosting first place Louisville City. Loudoun United hosting Atlanta United 2. We have more Eastern Conference matchups as FC Tulsa hosting Indy 11. And this Memphis side playing host to Birmingham Legion. Our scoreboard here from around the league. A draw 1-1 between the newcomers Detroit City and Oakland Roots. Louisville City beating Tampa Bay Rowdies 1-0. San Antonio keeping atop the West with a 2-0 victory over Lights. And Birmingham Legion going 1-0 over San Diego Loyal, coached by Landon Donovan. This is our home schedule coming up here for New Mexico. Well, this is not just the home schedule coming up, upcoming schedule for New Mexico. We're right back here on Saturday. Another first-time matchup for the newcomers. Monterey Bay, they make their first trip out to the lab, coming from the Bay in California. Next weekend, New Mexico headed up to Colorado Springs, as they're going to be making the trip up to Widener Field for the first time this season. Then we're right back here Friday Night Lights against El Paso Locomotive. You're not going to want to miss that one. Then taking the trip down to the Valley, taking on RGV. And then doing the double out there, as they'll be facing number 1 San Antonio. Our team of the week presented by eFootball. You can see quite a few, as we saw Segbers here against New Mexico last week for the Miami FC. You also see Segrist in there, who's in this side here tonight. Milan Olaski, who we recognize, scored here at the lab against New Mexico. And Solignac is your player of the week from El Paso. We've got a few minutes left of halftime here. We're going to step aside, catch our breath, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals. I'm on that routine. Routine.
It's halftime here at the lab Brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. New Mexico trails Memphis 1-0 after the first 45. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst on hand. It's a gorgeous evening here in Albuquerque as we have over 7,000 fans joining us here tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into the first half highlights brought to you by Will Ferguson and Associates. We're here for you, and we're here to win. Well, Chris, just the one goal so far, but doesn't leave us short on highlights as Alex Tambakis had some work to do in the first half.
Yeah, and that was the warning shot, right, where it was the Fernando coming off the right side and just making the run, and that's the goal that you see there where he makes a very similar run the first time. You can see Tambakis almost wants to make the same save again, realizes he can't make that because of the weight of that pass from Malloy. Great vision, great timing on the pass, and the timing of the run was perfect to beat the offside trap as well.
And that is a second goal in as many games for the Brazilian, Luis Fernando. It's just his third goal on this season, and you can see as cool as the other side of the pillow after scoring that one. You typically see visiting players get pretty fired up when they score here at the Lab, and now as this look, Leston Paul getting one on frame, Alex Tambakis full extension to keep this one out.
Yeah, lovely little cushioned header from that man Fernando again. So we thought this is the third clip that we've seen him involved in. Just drops it down to Paul, and you see there Paul just takes a touch to set himself. It opens up front and it bounces just in front of Tambakis, which makes that save all the more harder.
And we've got our first half stats coming up here in just a second. There we go. As we see how this one's played out so far. New Mexico, as we've seen, been very forward in their attacking play, getting 7 shots, just one of them on target. However, possession pretty much split right down the middle. And we see the one offside on either side and 1 yellow card.
Yeah, and you'd be worried if you were New Mexico United and you weren't creating chances. That's certainly not been the case today. Very even in possession, but the chances, I actually think New Mexico United have had the better chances. But they find themselves, 1 goal down. That's the most important stat of all, and that's something that has to change because, like I said, those very good chances. How many saves has the keeper had to make? There's just the one from Christian Nava.
We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll have the second half when we return here at the Lab. You're watching the USL Championship on ESPN.
For over 45 years, we have been roofing New Mexico. Even though you may not know it, you have been covered by one of our roofs at some point. Now we're bringing the same high-quality craftsmanship that protects New Mexico's commercial buildings into the residential marketplace. Get a commercial quality roof on your home today. National Roofing. Local company, national name.
Call 883-3000 or visit nationalroofing.com.
Well, folks, it's only 8 a.m. and it's going to be another hot one. Today's high is 85 degrees with lows ranging in the upper 50s. Tomorrow's more of the same, plus some light wind coming in from the northeast. Coming up at 8:30, Paul's got an exclusive
Babe, it's 8 a.m.
Fried chicken, better with Pepsi.
Game time.
This is a story about creativity, education, entrepreneurship, and cookies.
Well, mostly about cookies. Want to try one?
Kristen, where'd you learn to bake?
My grandma was my first teacher. She told me it was okay to be creative and take risks.
Like what?
Like green chili cookies. I haven't quite cracked the code on those yet.
Bummer. Was it a risk to open a bakery?
Definitely. But CNM gave me the skills to turn that passion into a reality.
That's amazing. At CNM, it's one college, infinite possibilities.
Halftime here at the Lab. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst on hand as we're getting set to bring you the second half. We've still got a couple minutes left here of halftime, Chris. So time to ask you what we'd love to ask you at this point in each broadcast. If you're in the locker room, you're Zach Prince. After that first half, what changes are you making going into the second half?
This is the easiest answer ever. Put the ball in the back of the net.
How?
Now you get to talk for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just I guess it's the hesitation to really like commit to the runs in the middle, because New Mexico United are turning the corner really well, getting to the end line, being able to drive to the end line so well and putting the crosses in, and all that is lacking is that one or two people to gamble on that. That's probably what the conversation is like. Hey, New Mexico United players, we've got them on the outside, we're able to get to the end line, take a gamble, get yourself in that 6-yard box, penalty spot kind of area, and those are the easy goals, and it starts with that. And I think in reality, New Mexico United can be a little disappointed to have not had one, maybe even 2 goals in that first half.
Well, New Mexico, as we saw, they had some good opportunities, and for what it's worth, seeing the front two of Devin Sandoval, Kevon Frater, they've provided some spark that I think this offense has kind of been missing a little bit over the last few games.
No, and it's changed the way that they've played, right? And it's the throwback has worked for sure. It's again, it's like a little time warp here, going back to the original season, but because of their qualities in terms of hold-up play, they are like target number 9s. The style of play for New Mexico United has been a little different in terms of, instead of trying to play balls over the top and behind, they've looked for the forwards' feet. And with those 3 attacking players of Nava, Wehan, I'm drawing a blank, and Moreno, behind them, running at them and facing the goal, that's really caused problems, especially for the midfield of Memphis to pick up those runs.
We are moments away from the second half of play getting underway here. So on the pitch right now for New Mexico, you said kind of a throwback to year one with Sandoval, Frater, Wehan out there as well. Tete, for what it's worth. You see a familiar face there on the bench as well with Sam Hamilton, Daniel Bruce, Zach Prince. It's a good old family reunion, right? Basically.
All that's missing is I hope you've got your freighter call ready for it, just in case that comes up in the dying moments. You've got a lot to live up to on that side.
I believe that one was Tyler Terrence that was on the call. Wrong Tyler.
I was at that game. I was doing the radio for that game with Adam Deal and ESPN Radio here in town, and I believe we went absolutely bonkers in the box that day.
That's just one of those goals that you remember where you were, the time and place. Obviously, I was still I wasn't broadcasting for the team at the time, so I was strictly working in the front office for the club doing ticket sales. I was behind the goal that they're currently playing on. I was in the dugout that you can currently see right there when Frater equalized. Yeah, that was an incredible one for sure. And Frater, for what it's worth, he had a number of those as well.
The Colorado Rapids one is actually the one I was thinking of as well, where the dying moments to take it to overtime as well.
Bank of America corner kick here. First of the second half, just over 60 seconds in. This is Justin Portillo. Portillo plays it front post, headed away by Malloy. Gets it back, does Portillo. Second service. Went off of Seymour and sends it just wide.
Yeah, did well to get first contact there. I think the initial delivery from Portillo, by his own very high standards, was disappointing. Comes back out to him, doesn't make the same mistake again. And Seymour, once again, we've talked about him in previous games. He gets the first contact and maybe a little disappointed not get that on target.
William Seymour making his 24th appearance on the season. Second on the team with 71 clearances, just trailing Kalen Ryden. It's a quick weather update. You can see 79 degrees here at the lab in Albuquerque, 46% humidity, and you can see the corner flag just behind Trey Muse, gently blowing with the breeze outside. It is a absolutely perfect evening here in Albuquerque. So New Mexico, Chris, looking to climb out of this hole, and well, things aren't looking good if Memphis's track record is anything to look at. In fact, they're unbeaten in their last 24 USL Championship matches when they lead at the half. They've won 22. They've drawn twice. You got to go all the way back to September 13th, 2020 to find the last time they held a halftime lead and lost the match.
Well, streaks are made to be broken, I guess, is the one saving grace there, right? Like the 5 games so far this season that Memphis has played against Western Conference teams, 5 wins, 0 losses, and some impressive wins. 5-0 against Los Dos, a 2-1 win against Colorado Switchbacks when Colorado Switchbacks were in form. They were in great form at that time as well. So yeah, it's an uphill battle. It really is. Like everything. If this game was played on paper, we might as well pack up, right? But luckily it's not. And like I said, New Mexico United have played well enough in the first half where there's a little bit more than hope because they've created a bunch of chances.
And I suppose when you play at a grounds like this with the support that they have, you always have to fancy your chances regardless of who you're going up against. Memphis, they're enjoying their most successful season ever here in USL Championship. Tim Howard, the sporting director at the club, has done a fantastic job so far. Memphis looking to break, trying to find Goodrum. Ryden does well to get in and poke that one away. Moreno looking for Frater, and it's poked back to the New England native Harry Swartz. Portillo switches the play, finds Rashid Tete. This is the Ghanaian Rashid Tete. He was an unused substitute on Sunday. Finds Frater in the box, and the offside flag is up.
You can see that he just went a little bit early, but that first touch, he took the ball down with his left thigh there, and it just sat up lovely. I think it was Smith who got the block in. Maybe it was Malloy actually who got the block in, but it was offside anyway. But still, what a great first touch by Frater there. And it was good to see Rashid Tete crossing the halfway line and showing some attacking intent. Going back to a back four, New Mexico United, they do need that from their outside backs today, especially with how narrow the midfield is for New Mexico United.
Well, you got to like what you're seeing from Kevon Frater as well. If you're a New Mexico United fan, he's been heavily involved in this attack all evening. Looking to find Luis Fernando on the run. The flag stays down. The Brazilian on a brace. The challenge comes in from Ryden, and it's won cleanly. Corner kick coming up here for the visitors.
I think that was Harry Schwartz who got back there, and he had to use every single bit of his speed there because Fernando was off to the races. Great tackle. I actually thought he won the tackle and played it and like hooked his leg and played it off Fernando to go out for a goal kick. So I think New Mexico and Schwartz specifically will be a little disappointed, although he's not arguing, and you know they've probably got a little better view than we have. But yeah, it was great defending there because once again on the break, New Mexico United fairly comfortable in possession. 2 passes and Fernando's off to the races.
Corner taken quickly. Here's Paul. Paul now chips it in. Kisiedu tried to get a touch on it, and it's played over the bar. Will Seymour concedes another corner here for the visitors.
A little heart in mouth moment there. I see you can see when Tambakis his body language was just rooted to the spot when Simon, it looked like it came off his shin. So didn't really have complete control over where that ball was going, and they were all just hoping that it wasn't going to pop in the top corner there.
Malloy plays the corner in. Shot attempt by Goodrum is blocked, and Portillo will clear the danger.
Great defensive work by Nava there. He just flung himself into the tackle to block the shot.
Malloy off to the races once again, has it poked away by Swartz. So New Mexico doing a little bit of defending here, Chris. Kisiedu lays it off for Malloy. Goodrum got a touch on that one. Look over at technical area for Zach Prince. See a couple of subs starting to warm up there. Nico Brett, Daniel Bruce, Preston Tabordataka. Or excuse me, not Nico Brett. It's Romario Williams, my apologies. the other Jamaican forward that we have. Swartz challenged heavily and goes to ground. It's going to be a throw in here for New Mexico. Challenge was fair, says the official.
Hey, he certainly meant it. He wanted, ball man, both, everything.
Frater plays this one to the far side, tracked down by Tete. And Tete does well to win the throw-in. Plays it off of Segris there. It was Moreno that went down. No foul called. Malloy cuts it back, turns it over. Christian Nava hesitated with his first touch there. And perhaps a learning moment for the youngster. Tambakis has to come out and chip this one away. It's going to go all the way back to Trey Muse.
That little battle in there, there's a little personal duel going in there between Nava and Malloy right now. The experience and the youthful exuberance. And you got to say it, Christian Nava, given as good as he's getting right now as well, where won the ball, then Malloy wins it back, and Nava comes back again. It's really, really fun to watch those two go at it in the middle of the park there.
Nava, after that little bout there, was standing with his hands on his hips, so you can tell just how grueling this game is. Swartz tries to track it down. Buckmaster beats him to it. Poked away there by Jeremy Kelly. Back out to Segrist on the far side. Now player down in the middle of the park. It's Aaron Malloy, and Frater is going to be booked here in the 56th minute.
That was interesting one. You've got to imagine, I think it was the fourth official who maybe brought it to the attention of the centre referee, because the centre referee certainly was not watching, because it was after the ball had gone. And Malloy, did he say, I think it is, who, he kind of, it was very late. Let's say it was very late if he did catch him. All the gesticulating that Frater is doing is that he didn't touch him, which obviously he would say that. But yeah, it was a very, very late foul if he did get him. But again, I think it was actually the fourth official who brought that one back.
Well, Aaron Malloy notched his 9th assist tonight. That ties Cameron Lindley atop the assist leaderboard in all of USL Championship. And his teammate Jeremy Kelly right behind him with 8 assists. So Malloy looks to be okay as he's standing over this free kick. Plays it short, and the shot on looking for the top corner there was Jeremy Kelly. Sandoval. Leston Paul pokes that one away. Luis Fernando has it poked away. So New Mexico, Chris, looking to avoid a 3rd consecutive home defeat. We're going to switch things up here. Says Zach Prince is bringing in Romario Williams, as he's going to replace Amando Moreno. Substitutions brought to you by REDW, CPAs, and advisors. There's no substitution for integrity. So Romario Williams comes in, Chris, fresh off of scoring his first goal in black and yellow on the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who takes up Moreno's position at the top of that diamond in midfield. Obviously, you know, the Portillo's at the base of it, Nava and Wehan, very narrow 7 and 11 in there, and then Moreno was just behind the front two, but he was kind of drifting out of the game. He was really struggling to find the ball, so I'm not surprised. Also 60 minutes under his belt as well, coming back from that ACL injury. That's a great night's work, and again, it's great to see him back on the pitch, and you know, very, very valuable minutes that he just got in his legs there.
Ben Pierman has been shown a yellow card here by our official, Jose Carlos Rivera. Second straight match that Ben Pierman has been shown a card. And, Ben Pierman coaches with a very fiery spirit, we'll say. There were mics down pitch side at Highmark Stadium on the weekends when they played Riverhounds, and just hear a little bit of the words he was having, we'll call it, with the fourth official. Sandoval dispossessed by Carroll. Tried to sneak around the veteran, did Carroll, but Devin Sandoval does well to win possession back. Seymour looking to switch the play. Harry Swartz not up to the task. 60 minutes gone by here at the lab. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst on hand. Memphis 901 on top of New Mexico United. 1-0 here by way of a 37th minute goal by the Brazilian Luis Fernando, notching his third on the season, his second goal in back-to-back games. Speaking of Luis Fernando, there he is in possession. Gets it off to Malloy. Back to the Trinidad and Tobago international, Leston Paul. Good connecting play. This is Segrist. Lays it back off. Goodrum has the shot blocked, gets it right back. Goodrum goes to ground. No foul called. Caitlin Ryden comes up hobbling after that. And Frater does well to get by his man and then eventually dispossessed. And then Frater goes to ground, presumably a little bit of a cramp there.
He had 3 guys around him. He does the first 2, and then I think he gets like clipped on his foot there. But he continues on, and you know that is the frustrating thing as a player, where you know if there's contact and there's no advantage, you don't have to go down for it to be a foul. You shouldn't have to fall down. If it's a foul, it's a foul, and I think that's the question he's asking right now.
So Kevon Frater receiving some medical attention from New Mexico United trainer Matt LeClaire. And thumbs up, says Matt LeClaire, so doesn't look like a substitution immediately coming for the Jamaican Kevon Frater. So Frater, we mentioned, he was here in 2019, the club's inaugural season, notched 14 USL Championship goals for New Mexico, which led the club, but also tacked on 3 in the U.S. Open Cup. So that puts him at 17 goals scored in all comps in black and yellow, which is good enough to put him in 3rd all-time behind Chris Wehan, who's number 1, and Devin Sandoval, who's number 2. And so Frater back in play. All's well for the 27-year-old Jamaican. Looks like maybe seen a change or two coming up from Zach Prince here momentarily. But before that, Romario Williams going to be called for the shove in the back. Zach Carroll went to ground.
Must be something to do with this end of the field. Must be something to do with this end of the field, because that's what was going on in the first half as well. But it was New Mexico United defenders at the end of it. So clearly Williams was watching from the sideline and thought, well, why not?
So a double change here coming up for New Mexico. Kevon Frater and Christian Nava will be replaced by Daniel Bruce and Sam Hamilton. Substitutions brought to you by REDW CPAs and advisors. There's no substitution for integrity. Daniel Bruce, Sam Hamilton were just a couple of the 5 remaining players that have been on this roster since day one. This is another one of them, Devin Sandoval. Here's the substitute, Sam Hamilton. Back to Sandoval. Swartz is looking for Romario Williams there. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. Harry Swartz. You can see talking with head coach Zach Prince, who is just out of the picture. Swartz, he scored 4 goals in 21 appearances so far this season. All 4 of those goals, though, Chris, coming in the first 10 matches.
Yeah, and there was that little injury break that he had that really, because it did, started the season absolutely on fire, and that really did kind of hamper him a little bit and put the brakes on and struggle to find the same areas as what he was earlier on in the season.
So New Mexico inserts Daniel Bruce, Sam Hamilton, just looking for a little bit of a spark here. They started out, as we said, attacking, and since then, slowed down a little bit as the game has gone on.
It's interesting that Daniel Bruce, you know, we're used to seeing him deployed on the right wing back, right wing, right back, but he's popped into that little number 10 role just behind the front two, with still Weehan off to the right-hand side. Sam Hamilton is on the left side of that diamond. And obviously, Hamilton just brings a little more, maybe a little safer, you know, less risks for sure, but a little safer with the ball maybe.
Daniel Bruce taken down. Challenge won cleanly. Yeah, and Daniel Bruce, you mentioned playing in the 10 spot. Maybe for the first time that we've seen him here for New Mexico, as this one falls to Chris Weehan, gets a shot on, and it's straight at Trey Muse. But Daniel Bruce, this is a position that he played in college at UNC Charlotte. I can tell you that, as I called his games against the University of New Mexico. So we're mentioning over 7,000 on hand here tonight, as we've just received confirmation. 7,414 fans here at the Lab tonight joining us for some Wednesday night action, and they may just be rewarded here on this one as Chris Weehan makes the run, but Trey Muse is up to the task.
And it's positive signs for New Mexico, though, that Chris Weehan twice in the last minute now is finding some more dangerous positions, getting a little higher up the field. And again, it's that little interchange of ball into Devon Sandoval's feet for the first chance this is, ball into his feet, and Weehan just playing off him. And they just link up so well.
I mentioned calling Daniel Bruce's games against UNM, a handful of years ago. You look at this field tonight of obviously Devon Sandoval, who spent some time at the University of New Mexico. You've got Chris Weehan as well, Ford Parker for New Mexico. But then you look at this bench for Memphis, and Devin Boyce is there. Devin Boyce was somebody who was on that team with Chris Weehan, Ford Parker as well, before the program was done away with. Is Memphis still threatening here? Not very often do you see a handful of former UNM players and somebody from UNC Charlotte that played against them. Luis Fernando tries to spin away from Swartz. Good defensive work there by the fullback. Kisiedu. Bruce comes up with the interception. Williams tried to sneak down by Paul.
Yeah, that very nearly worked. The little, I don't know what you call it in soccer, but if it was hockey, it would be the spinorama by Portillo. Just turned Paul around the corner there, I think, or Kisiedo maybe it was, and played the ball at Williams. Williams manages to face up, and you see Daniel Bruce was wide open. The gap, the passing lane just closed up at the last second, so Williams wasn't able to squeeze it through.
Here's Hamilton, making his 68th USL Championship appearance for New Mexico here tonight. Here's Weehan, looking for Swartz here on the near side. Back to Weehan. Hamilton once again. New Mexico being patient in possession here, Chris. Portillo now. Back to Ryden. Here's Portillo. And Williams looked to have had it poked away, but Ryden comes in with the challenge. Here's Weehan now. And Sandoval gets a touch, and there goes the opportunity for New Mexico. Kelly finds Kisiedu in space. Ryden tries to track it down, and Kalen Ryden was absolutely perfect on that challenge.
I tell you what, the last 30 seconds there, Kalen Ryden has put on a masterclass of defending right there. That is a huge tackle, and the tackle just before that to stop the break as well, he had to get it right, and it was almost, the attacker almost got a little toe to it, but he timed it to absolute perfection.
Segrist rips a shot, and Tambakis went full extension. And Segrist keeping Tambakis awake.
Wow, what a strike that was. We were right behind that there, and as soon as it left his foot, I was just waiting for the net to pull there, because he absolutely crushed that.
Segrist out of Streamwood, Illinois. 29 appearances for Indy 11 last season. Made 65 appearances during his college days at Marquette. And Segrist, you can tell the quality. I mentioned he was at Indy 11 last season. He was actually there on loan from Inter Miami. "20 minutes plus stoppage time left here at the lab. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst on hand. New Mexico looking to avoid a third consecutive home defeat as Sandoval looking for Williams. Hamilton has that headed away by Segrist. Williams looking to connect with Swartz on the through ball. Memphis defensively tonight, Chris, have been very tidy, and there's Goodrum. Fouls Kalen Ryden. And I'd be surprised if he got away with another one of these without getting a card, and he did.
Yeah, he's walking the tightrope right there. But going back to your point about the potential third defeat in a row, New Mexico United last home in July 6th. Since then, 2 ties in a row, 2 defeats that you just talked about. Those 2 defeats in a row before that trip to Los Dos. So yeah, it's a massive end to the game here, where they want to send the home fans home happy.
When you see the ambition, right? You see them bringing in new players. And they've already brought in Romario Williams, Kevon Frater. So the effort is there.
Oh, the chances are there. It really is just it's putting that final beat. The hardest thing. That's why the most expensive players in the world tend to be forwards, because they're putting the ball in the back of the net. But so the attacking intent is there. I think it's been an entertaining game as well, which maybe earlier on in the season when they were so defensively solid, a little less entertaining. But the attacking intent is there. I think we'll just brush over that. You can just see there, the ball just bobbled right before Williams hit it. It just opened up for him. Why not have a shot, right? And it just bobbled right before he hit it. And unfortunately, the curse took the brunt of that one. But yeah, the attacking intent is there. And yeah, it's just the final piece, but you know, there's no getting away. There's a trend right now where teams are able to come into this building and grind out results, and you know, and it's you know, it is obviously a huge shame because of the fanatical support that New Mexico United have. They're always thousands of fans here. They turn out in their droves, and it's obviously the players are desperate to please them as well.
Jeremy Kelly. And talk about how much it means to, obviously, the New Mexico players to come out and play for these fans, but as an opposing player, to come out here in front of almost 7,500 fans on a Wednesday night, that's got to get you fired up as well. Leston Paul falls to Kisiedu. Kisiedu tries a shot, and it's blocked. Falls right back to him. Here's Segrist. Segrist, 10th overall draft pick in the 2020 MLS Super Draft by New York Red Bulls. Segrist scored his first professional goal this season, week 2. It was a 2-1 win against Oakland Roots. '75th minute. New Mexico trailing Memphis 1-0. And for New Mexico, this is massive. I mean, you're trying to stay in that 4th position. Sacramento Republic obviously in good form, given their U.S. Open Cup run, but not just that, but the form they've been in the league as well. As this ball goes back post. Here's Weehan. Plays it in. And it just escaped Romario Williams and Devin Sandoval. Here's Swartz. And Swartz is absolutely clattered. And immediately the training staff's called on as Malloy and Harry Swartz.
I mean, that was a foul.
Absolutely.
And Zach Prince is absolutely going nuts in the technical area there, because I don't think the referee's given it, and Malloy just stepped across his line and completely blocked him off. Yeah, not surprising that they're both hurt there. You know, that was a heavy collision, but yeah, how that has not been given as a foul is beyond me. And yeah, I haven't seen Zach Prince this animated in a long time. And just going back to that Williams chance right there again, that was inches away from being a goal, and that's the state that New Mexico United find themselves in right now. Those little breaks like that, again, like that is, it took a little ricochet and it was inches away from Williams' foot.
It's a TLC replay on that challenge, and yeah, you see it.
I mean, he doesn't even try and play the ball. So there, yeah, the argument could be that maybe he lost control of it, but there he goes inside and Williams just steps across, Malloy just steps across his line. No attempt to play the ball whatsoever.
So we're hearing there's a yellow card shown to New Mexico United assistant coach Nate Walzer. But again, after seeing that replay, you can understand where some of that frustration is coming from. So Sandoval and Romario Williams, the 2 USL Championship veterans, having a word here. Now Leston Paul, the captain for Memphis, being pushed away. I think we might have some stoppage time on this back end of this second 45 here. So, yeah, drop ball. Interesting scenario there, as no foul was given. Now, a couple of changes coming up here for Ben Pierman. So you're going to see another Brazilian, Lucas Turchi. As Turchi is going to be replacing Kisiedu. Also coming in is going to be Chris Allen. He'll be replacing Luis Fernando. So Chris Allen out of South Shields, England. Spent time in the Sunderland Youth Academy. In fact, he was the 2017 Sunderland Youth Scholar of the Year. Harry Swartz puts this one over the bar.
I could just tell the way he stepped onto the field. Just, he just carries himself very well.
Now, I know last week you told me you typically don't say this, but is that from your neck of the woods? I'm guessing South Shields?
South Shields is my neck of the woods, yeah. If I went to a beach in the northeast of England, it would probably be South Shields.
Hamilton just having a quick word there with Zach Prince. So tactical change here for New Mexico as Preston Tabordataka is going to come on, replacing Rashid Tete. So Preston Tabordataka, 2 goals on the season. Out of Bamenda, Cameroon. Making just his 22nd appearance for Zach Prince. He's got 14 starts to his name on the campaign. So Turchi, as we mentioned, replacing Kisiedu. Well, he did the same thing last match. He was a 67th minute sub for Kisiedu. Ben Pierman saying if it's not broken, don't fix it. So Chris Allen tried to get a shot there. We've seen bad giveaways in the midfield just like that come back to haunt New Mexico in recent matches. Turchi is looking for his fellow substitute, Chris Allen, and it's going to be a throw-in for New Mexico.
Yeah, obviously he's putting Daniel Bruce back at right back, which is, I guess, somewhat more familiar to what we're used to seeing anyway, but obviously more attacking you would expect from that position. But I mean, Zach Prince and the coaching staff at New Mexico United throwing everything and the kitchen sink here at Memphis, with just throwing attacking players onto the field and hoping that it just generates something.
Sandoval looking to spring Preston Tabordataka forward, but a good header won there by Segrist. Daniel Bruce gets the match restarted quickly with the throw-in. Here's Preston. Looking for Sandoval at the back post, and that was awfully close. Trey Muse had to track that one all the way in.
That turned into a shot, but I think it was originally, like you said, supposed to be a cross for Sandoval at the back post there. Preston has unbelievable pace. If New Mexico United can get him in open space, running at this tired defensive Memphis, good things could come from it.
And how about this for Sandoval? He only had 4 appearances this season after coming back from heart issues. He'd only played 46 minutes in total. He's already gone 82 minutes here tonight in his return to the starting lineup. And with Sandoval back in the lineup, this is Turchi. Turchi cuts it back. Turchi looking for a second, and New Mexico able to stand tall defensively and keep it to just a 1-goal lead for Memphis.
Yeah, that is the risk reward that New Mexico United is dealing with right now. They have to push to try and get an equalizer to get back in this game. They are going to leave themselves open at the back there to potential counterattacks.
Bank of America corner kick coming up here. So New Mexico looking to score their first goal at home since Preston Tabordataka in the 54th minute against Sac Republic. If you're keeping tabs, that was 3 matches ago. Looking back post. It's going to be a goal kick here for Alex Tambakis. So New Mexico, Chris, they've got about 7 minutes plus stoppage time. Looking for a moment of magic here as Preston chases down Segrist, and it's going to be another throw in here for the black and yellow. Kelly looking to play this one forward for Allen. And Tambakis has to come out of his box to poke that one away.
And that ball has been on all night for Memphis as well. That early delivery into space for the wide guys of Memphis to run onto. It was Fernando early on in the game, and yeah, that's been on that quick pass in transition. And you can see Portillo. We could hear from the press box that we could hear people shouting man on, but he assumed it was one of the two defenders in front of him. It was Goodrum all the way, tracking back, doing the defensive work still in the dying minutes of the game, you know.
Memphis showing no issues here when it comes to conditioning and fitness, as I'm sure Isotopes Park here is just a little bit higher in elevation than AutoZone Park back in Memphis. Rehan, he's ran off the ball there. It's cleared away by Leston Paul. Going to Sandoval. Here's Preston now. Preston tries the cross and it's blocked. Sandoval back for Bruce. Bruce going outside of the foot with the cross, and it's going to trickle out for a goal kick. So as we mentioned, Memphis, they played on Saturday in Pittsburgh at Highmark. Well, this is what Ben Pierman had to say following that game, looking forward into tonight. It's 100% recovery. We've got to make sure the medical staff and everyone does a good job getting ourselves ready. That's what football is about. We have to make sure we're focused on recovery. We have to make sure we're ready for New Mexico because they're flying. They've got a good team. They're pushing to get that home playoff match. We've got to go into one of the toughest places in the country to get a result. Well, Chris, 85 and a half minutes gone by. They're well on their way to getting that result.
Yeah, and I say, I mean, obviously, you know, they look like a team that's got the fourth best defensive record in the USL as well. You know, like thinking of shots that Muse has had to save, both of them that I can think of off the top of my head have been right down his throat. There have been a bunch of half chances, like the Williams one we talked about where it just missed his foot. There was 3 or 4 chances in the first half where the ball flashed across the 6-yard box. But again, you got to get shots on target if you want to score goals.
Seymour wins the foot race to that one. Here's Portillo. Portillo leads New Mexico United in chances created, and it's really not even close. Coming in with more than double of his next closest teammate. Another substitution incoming for the visitors. It's going to be after this Fiesta Auto Group free kick. Portillo sends this one in. Here's Daniel Bruce. New Mexico has options. Cross sent back. Preston now. Great first touch from the Cameroonian. Portillo now sizes this one up. And Trey Muse lays out for it, although it was off target.
Yeah, it took a couple of deflections on the way through, so you just had to be aware of where the last deflection was going to take it. But again, it's a couple of half-decent chances for New Mexico United to get deliveries into the box. And Daniel Bruce gets the first one a little bit wrong. Second one pops out to Preston. Defense deals with it, pops out to Portillo, and he's got a ton of space, so why not have a shot?
Here's Portillo. New Mexico searching for the first goal of the evening. Their first goal of the evening. Their first goal at home in their last 3 matches, as they were shut out by Miami FC just about 10 days ago here at the Lab. Here's Sandoval. Sandoval just runs into trouble, dispossessed. Weehan pokes it back to Williams. Here's Williams. And Turchi deals with the danger. Less than Paul. 27 caps for the Trinidad and Tobago national team, including against the U.S. men's national team. Swartz here on the near side. It's got Sandoval and Weehan. Williams arriving, as well as Preston. Sandoval tries the bike. And nobody able to get a touch on it. So another substitution coming in here for Memphis. We're going to see Jackson Brady enter tonight's match as he's going to replace Jeremy Kelly. Jackson Brady out of Christchurch, New Zealand. Played his college soccer at Memphis. He's got experience with the New Zealand U17, U20, and U23 national teams. He was actually just signed to a 25-day contract on August 8th. So in the 2 matches that he's been available to feature, he has featured both times as a sub, as Kalen Ryden is now going to be called for the foul. So the 90 minutes coming to a close. We have been told that there are going to be 6 minutes of New Mexico Piñon coffee stoppage time. Great coffee is a matter of opinion. It's our 4th official, Christian Campo Hernandez. Memphis will try to hold on for a result here. Sam Hamilton, he picked up a yellow card on Sunday in first half stoppage time. Also completed 90% of his passes, completing 27 of the 30. It's good enough to be second on the squad. Swartz goes to ground, and the free kick is called. Fiesta Auto Group free kick coming up here for New Mexico. Into stoppage time we are. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst here at the lab. Memphis coming in and showing exactly why they're sitting in second place overall in the Eastern Conference. It's a very tidy brand of disciplined football here, and coached by Ben Pierman.
Yeah, it's been another team that's come into the lab with a very set game plan, you know, giving up some territory but trying to catch New Mexico United on the break. And New Mexico being restricted to half chances.
Swartz has that one blocked. Here's Weehan now. Weehan. Sandoval gets a touch to it. Here's Bruce now. Lays it back for Hamilton. Cross looking back post. He's headed away by Smith. Looking for the run of Philip Goodrum. And Goodrum, one-on-one with Tambakis, chips the keeper, and that's number 14 on the season for Philip Goodrum. And he further extends his lead atop the Eastern Conference scoring charts. And Memphis have put the nail in the coffin here tonight.
Yeah, that would be game, set, and match right there, where you go 1 second, Memphis defending their own 6-yard box and doing a great job of that, and then 2 passes. And I was pointing to you. I was saying you could see Goodrum. He was wide open. The movement to just peel off the back of Seymour there, and he was just wide open. And great pass again. The weight and the timing of the pass, and a couple of touches, and he just dinks it over Tambakis' over his head.
We both saw it right there. We both pointed at Goodrum as we saw him drifting off the shoulder of Will Seymour, and you know the speed that he has. And
like what a second touch that is. What a set. Like that first touch, you see, he just kind of stops it there, bounces up. Second touch, he knows exactly what he wants to do. What a great finish that is.
And Goodrum, as we said, 14 goals now on the season for the 25-year-old out of Tennessee. And Memphis well on their way to a 4th consecutive win. New Mexico staring a 3rd consecutive home defeat straight in the face. Three and a half of the 6 allotted minutes of stoppage time gone by. Bruce goes back to Justin Portillo. So from what I can tell, just a quick glance, New Mexico have never suffered 3 consecutive defeats at home. As Memphis 901 FC looking to change that here tonight. Malloy finds Chris Allen. Back to Chris Allen. Chris Allen, his brother James is a first-team sports scientist at Newcastle United in the Premier League. Goodrum goes to ground behind the play. New Mexico elect to play on. Here's Romario Williams. Romario Williams blazes one over the bar. And a late substitution here for Ben Pierman is we're going to see Pickering entering the match as he'll replace Goodrum.
You see Goodrum's just really struggling with cramp there, and we talked earlier, even before the goal, that he was still doing defensive work, pressing from the front, and he's got through some miles tonight, that's for sure.
So Nita Pickering out of Birmingham, Alabama, entering tonight's match. The 17-year-olds as Pickering, well, you may have seen, he actually just won goal of the week. He scored on his debut against Hartford as a 62nd minute substitute on August 6th. And if you haven't seen the goal, go look it up. What a goal it was to score on your debut is a bicycle kick. And that is, we see somebody go to ground. It's not full time yet as the training staff has been called on. One of the New Mexico United players has gone down.
Is that Harry Schwartz?
Can't exactly tell what's going on, but calling for
the doctor as well coming on. That's never a good sign.
Some extra medical attention as well from what we can see. So, of course, we hope all is well on the pitch. So as we look ahead here for both clubs, so a big win here for Memphis at the Lab, Chris, in their first ever venture out to New Mexico. This is what's on tap for the black and yellow. We're right back here again on Saturday as Monterey Bay makes their first trip out to the Lab. 7 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff. We'll be right back here again. Actually, you won't. I have J.J. Buck alongside me for the call on that one. Then New Mexico making the trip out to Widener Field for the first trip. First time this season, their first matchup against their good buddies up to the north in Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
I believe this late in the season, after the season where we seem to play them every other week along with El Paso, that it's taken this long for the first matchup of the season between New Mexico United and Switchbacks.
So Will Seymour makes his way off the pitch into the bench area as he's walking under his own power, which is a good sign as Memphis now look to just see this one out. And they do. That is the That is the full-time whistle at the Lab. Memphis victorious in their first trip, 2-0. There's a couple of big goals. It was Fernando in the 37th minute, and then Philip Goodrum in second half stoppage time as the visitors take all 3 points. Kalen Ryden is your man of the match, brought to you by Pepsi. Had 4 interceptions, 3 clearances this evening. The Norman, Oklahoma native is Ryden, and also Alex Tambakis, as you see, the goalkeeper. He was our save of the match, presented by Invigorate Roofing for his save in the 40th minute. He's got 12 shutouts in his New Mexico United career, and that is the most in club history all time. So Tambakis, you can see, having a little bit of a word there with Ryden. It was a little bit of a frustrating night. We'll be back to wrap that all up here in just a moment.
Game time.
From day one, REDW has been an integral partner and one of the first companies to say yes to the crazy idea of this soccer team that we all love. Because of REDW's belief, support, and expert financial guidance, United is in a better place today. Their focus on community-first initiatives is perfectly aligned with United's ethos. When they say integrity counts, they mean it, and we are forever grateful and thrilled to be partnered with REDW.
Full time here at the Lab. Tonight's Duke City Cares final score, Memphis 2, New Mexico United 0. Tyler Ortega on hand alongside Chris Hurst to wrap things up here, Chris. And let's just go ahead and jump into tonight's highlights. And it was more so for the visitors as they came in, took care of business, starting off things here in the 37th minute. It was the Brazilian Luis Fernando with his second goal in as many games.
Yeah, great ball by Malloy. Timing of it allows Fernando to just take Tambakis out of it with the first touch there. Just takes it around Tambakis. Tambakis tries everything to get on the end of it, but great finish with his left foot.
And for Luis Fernando, that got things started. New Mexico, well, they had to weather this storm defensively for periods tonight as Tambakis coming up with this save here in the first half. It was Leston Paul putting the shot on frame. Tambakis going sprawling out. That was just a couple of minutes after the opener scored by Martinez. And Tambakis was busy tonight.
Yeah, and he had to be. Yeah, that could have been so much worse going into halftime. We were talking at halftime about how well New Mexico United had played, and realistically, it could have been 2-0 down. It could have been 2-2. It was a really open game, actually.
New Mexico had an opportunity here as Chris Wehan got a shot on goal, but Trey Muse really didn't have much to do tonight. As you mentioned in the broadcast, the 2 shots on frame were hit straight at him.
Yeah, and it turns out there was a third shot on target as well, but yeah, weren't really testing him. It was right down his throat, and that was one of them there where it just opens up for Chris Wehan, and that's the person that you want the ball to drop to in that kind of area, and he just puts it right down the middle of the goal, unfortunately.
Chris Wehan, the club's all-time leading scorer, and this another opportunity for Memphis as Alex Tambakis comes away with a big save. Goodrum was looking to get number 14 right there. Unfortunately, as we're going to see, he had to wait, but New Mexico, again, defensively having to do the work.
Yeah, and that's it. It's crazy, concede 2 goals, and your centre-back's the man of the match as well, and rightly so as well, but what a first touch by Goodrum there. The ball over the top, and he just takes one touch, and it just pops up lovely for him, where he sees the on-rushing Tambakis and just lifts it over, and I think the first bounce it's just everything about it. It's just a really nice goal to watch.
14 goals on the season for Philip Goodrum, the 25-year-old from Nashville, as he leads the paces in the Eastern Conference. As he trails just Milan Alaski, Haji Berry. As we're going to get into our full-time stats here, brought to you by Will Ferguson and Associates. As New Mexico kept pace when it come to the offense, just couldn't find the back of the net, Chris, even ending the night with possession.
Yeah, and, you know, it was all about what they did with it, right? And you can see Memphis had more shots on target, more efficient with the ball and with the possession that they had. And you can see Memphis almost conceded territory and then just looked to catch New Mexico United on the break. And that was in the first half as well. The first goal came from that, and definitely the second goal where they were defending their 6-yard box. 2 passes later, the ball's in the back of the net.
So again, thank you to everybody who hung out with us here tonight, whether you watched on ESPN Plus or here in New Mexico on KOAT Channel 7. We're going to be right back here on Saturday as New Mexico hosts Monterey Bay FC, 7 p.m. kickoff. We'll see you here. So for everybody here tonight, Gary Williams, our director, Chris Hurst on color. My name is Tyler Ortega. Thank you for watching.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.